When Lightfoot went to visit him in the hospital, the Chicago police made their feelings known. One of the officers posted this photo to his Facebook page, writing, "They turned their back to the mayor just as she has turned her back on the rank and file time and time again." According to local reports, even the officer's family asked Lightfoot to leave the hospital. For more on this, let's bring in former acting CBP Commissioner Mark Morgan. Mark, thanks for joining us tonight. You know, I know that you must feel a connection to this. You not only served in the White House, but the Los Angeles community as well as a police officer there. How fed up do you think these officers are for them to do something like this?
Look, it's powerful. This does not happen much, Jen, where you have police officers actually turn their back on a sitting mayor. Well, let's be honest here. Let's talk about fact. For 2.5 years, this mayor has vilified, betrayed, and abandoned the police department. She's pushed through nonsensical, dangerous policies that restricted the police department from doing their job while emboldening the police department. So it's no surprise that the police officers have had enough and they did this, and I applaud them, Jen.
Sure. You know, Mark, this is a very personal story for me. I raised a family in the city of Chicago for 25 years. I just recently left and moved. And one of the main drivers of me getting my family out of Chicago was crime, was because of the absolute ineptitude and corruption of Lori Lightfoot. I think Chicago right now, and I think I can make a statistical case, not just my opinion, Chicago is the most dangerous city, not just in the United States, but in the developed world in terms of the randomness of the violence. Now, part of that, of course, is Lori Lightfoot, but I also don't want to let terrible judges and prosecutors off the hook. And I want to ask you about this part of the story. And I think your experience as a cop, you really have authority to speak to this. In Chicago, there's a website called CWB Chicago that puts out great reports on crime. And they detail a recent case there. Prosecutors charged 28-year-old Marvin Flanagan with fatally shooting another man during a home invasion 4 days before Christmas. So it happened before Christmas, but he's just charged now. The allegations make Flanagan the 40th person charged with killing, trying to kill, or shooting someone in Chicago while out on bail for serious felonies. So the point here, Mark, is that this man, Marvin, okay, he was out on bail for gun charges after having served time for previous gun charges. So you have now at least 40 people that website has tracked who have been charged with serious felonies. And instead of sitting in jail, they are let out on either low bail or in many cases, no bail. So don't the prosecutors and judges also deserve a lot of the blame for what's happening in many American cities, including Chicago?
Steve, I tell you what, I couldn't have said it better myself. You're right. You know, the mayor, she's leading the pack, but it is the judges, it is the district attorneys, it's the city council as well. And look, and the mayor, she can't stop it. As the family of Officer French is arranging her funeral, and her partner is in the hospital fighting for her life, and her press conference, what does the mayor do? She still makes some offhand comment about law enforcement is flawed. Steve, what she should have done was look in the camera and say, I want to be clear. If you commit a crime in the city of Chicago, we're coming for you. And I don't care if it's for trespassing, shoplifting, or killing somebody. We're coming after you. We're going to prosecute you with the full extent of the law. And if you kill a cop, I promise you, we're going to find you and do everything we can to make sure you spend the rest of your life in jail. But what did she do? No. She talked about flawed law enforcement and politics and did everything except what she should have done. It's outrageous.
Mark, I want you to listen to something that Lori Lightfoot said that I don't think we would have heard out of her a year ago.
The police are not our enemies. They are human, just as we are. Flawed, just as we are. But also risking their lives every day for our safety.
Mark, I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem sincere. I mean, can she still repair that relationship or lack thereof with the police? And can other Democrat leaders do the same, given what they said last year? Or is it too late for these folks?
Chad, look, I'm glad you showed that clip because that's what it's referring to. She is talking about, again, as the family of Officer French is preparing her funeral and her partner's fighting for his life after being shot by this criminal thug, right, is that she's talking about how police officers are flawed. I mean, she's tone deaf, no context. And look, she's got to go. And Steve, to your earlier point, let's talk about some statistics because you're right. Right now, a 50% increase in shootings since 2019. 469 have been killed in Chicago this year. Over 2,200 shot and wounded. There is a shooting every 2 hours, and someone dies at the hands of a gun every 11 hours. And under Lightfoot's leadership. It's absolutely a war zone there, and she should be impeached, and she needs to go.
Yeah, completely agree. Mark Morgan, thank you for your service in law enforcement, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Steve. Jen, thanks for having me.